Good morning, everyone. My name is Teacher Brian Amkwaya. Let me take this opportunity to welcome you to our today's lesson. And today's lesson, I want us to focus on placement of grade 9 of grade 10 learners to senior secondary school. So let's go direct to introduction. And the part of introduction, let's talk about the government introduced the competency-based curriculum that was in 2017. And we find that these educational reforms are founded on national and international legal and policy frameworks. So the transition from grade 9 to grade 10 is a crucial phase in the competency-based curriculum, that is CBC. So we find that there is need to ensure learners are placed in pathways that align with their interest, strengths, and career aspirations. So we find that these are the main three areas that the education stakeholders, that is parents, teachers, and the Ministry of Education, will be focusing on when placing these learners in grade 10. So we find that these placement guidelines will facilitate a smooth transition. So after introduction, let's check on the objective of grade 10 placement guidelines. Objectives, why should we have these placement guidelines? So the first objective is that it ensures consistency in the placement learners from grade 9 to grade 10. Then also you find that it informs all stakeholders on the selection and placement process for learners transiting from grade 10, from grade 9 to grade 10. Then the third one, we find that it guides educators on appropriate placement and admission of learners. Then it also states the roles and responsibilities of various levels in the management of grade 10 selection and admission. Then the last one, provide direction on a harmonized selection process throughout Kenya at all levels. So as you can see through your phone, through your tablet, your laptop, on the right side of your phone or your gadget, you find that we have three pathways. So we have the art and sport pathway, we have the STEM, and we have social sciences. So we have the junior school focuses on learning areas. We have senior school focuses on subject for arts and sports. Under STEM, we have senior school focuses on subjects for STEM. Then social sciences, we have senior school will focus on subjects for social sciences. So that is some of the objective of grade 10 placement guidelines. So under that one, we also have principles guiding selection and placement. Principles guiding selection and placement. So we have four principles. And the first principle is learner-centered approach. The second one is equity and fairness. The third one is inclusivity. And the fourth one is transparency. So when we talk about learner-centered approach as one of the principles, we are talking about the principle that will emphasize the importance of focusing on the individual learner. Here you focus on individual learner. Then when we talk about equity and fairness, we are talking about a principle that will ensure that all learners, including those with special needs, are treated fairly. Then we have inclusivity. Here we are highlighting the need to accommodate learners from diverse backgrounds and ensuring that some are not disadvantaged when giving them various schools under this placement. Then we have transparency. This one will be focusing on the placement process should be open with clear criteria that all stakeholders, that is learner, parents, and educators, understand. So those are the four principles that will be guiding selection and placement of these learners who are in grade 9 now, when they'll be transiting to grade 10 come next year. So also let's check on the overview of pathways at senior school. Overview of pathways at senior school. Now these are the pathways that this learner will be choosing so that they will be placed in various senior schools. So the STEM pathway equips learners with the knowledge, skill, and competencies required to excel in scientific and technical discipline, and that one will be carrying 60%. 60%. Then we have the art and sports science pathway, will be nurturing learners' talents, creativity, and physical abilities. That will be carrying 15%. Then we have the social science pathway. We'll be developing learners' understanding of society, human behavior, and global system. That will be having 25%. So as you can see on your gadget there, we have various pathways. For example, when we talk about art and sports, that one, it will be all about sports science and art. When we talk about social sciences, it will be all about language and literature, then humanities and business studies. When we talk about STEM as a pathway, it will be focusing on applied sciences, pure sciences, and technical studies. That will be the areas that these learners will be focusing on from junior school. So there's this important message that information that as as parents we are supposed to have. We find that senior school learners, that's grade 10 to 12, shall take seven subjects. That is, four are core subjects: English, Swahili or Kenya Sign Language, Community Service Learning, that is CSL, and Physical Education. Those are core subjects. Then three shall be selected from the pathways and track of choice. So if a learner will choose STEM, it means that in that area of STEM, the learner will be selecting three learning areas. Then you add to the four core subjects. So to sum up seven learning areas. So also let's talk about categorization of schools at senior level. Categorization of schools at senior level. So here you find that school will be categorized according to the following areas. We have flexibility of the school, we have partnership, and then infrastructure. Apart from those one, also we have the pathways, we have the gender, accommodation, and special needs. So under pathways, we have the triple pathway and double pathway. Then gender, we have mixed gender, and we have single gender. Then accommodation, we have day and hybrid. Then special need, we have special need schools and vocational schools. Now, let's break it into small units. Let's talk about pathways. Now, the schools under pathways, we have the triple pathway senior schools and double pathways senior schools. So, under triple pathway senior schools, we have STEM, we have art and sports, and we have social sciences. So, these are schools that will be offering all the three pathways under triple pathway school. That's the word triple. They offer all the three pathways. Then we have the double pathway senior schools. We find that we have STEM, that is STEM art and sport, or STEM social sciences. So these are schools that will be offering two pathways, and that means STEM will be compulsory in these schools. Then the school has to choose either the science, the social science pathway, or the art and sport pathway, but STEM will be compulsory in double pathway senior school. So STEM compulsory, then they decide on either if they will be offering the social science together with the STEM, or art science, or art and sports together with STEM. Then let's go to accommodation as another criteria. And accommodation, we have the day senior schools and hybrid senior schools, that's day and boarding schools. So under day senior schools, we find that learners uh, commute daily from their homes and do not reside on the school. That's under day senior schools. Then hybrid senior schools, that is day and boarding schools. Some learners do not reside in the school while others reside in the school. Then gender, we have single gender, that's girls only or boys only. Then we have mixed gender, that's boys and girls. Then under the criteria of special needs schools, we have special needs senior schools. That one will be having hearing impaired, visually impaired, and physically impaired. So this one, it will be carrying all the three areas, special need areas. Then we have the vocational senior schools. Here we have the learners with autism, cerebral palsy, then cognitive difficulties, and deaf or blind. So that's schools that will be having those category of learners. So that is how these senior schools should be categorized. So learners will be required to choose the area that or the school that their interests lie on. So after having the knowledge of the various criteria that will be used to come up with these senior schools, now let's go to the placement of grade 10 learners. Placement of grade 10 learners. So under placement, we find that the process of placement of learners in grade 10 will follow the following procedure. So we have the first one is the selection. And under selection, we find that selection of pathways, subject combination, and schools. Then we have projection of vacancies in senior school will also be considered. Then mapping into pathways and data validation and verification. Then we have selection. And also at the placement, we have computation of quotas, placement of SNE and integrated schools. Then we have placement to boarding schools, placement to day schools, and placement to vocational schools. Then admission, we have release of selection results, handling of joining instructions, change and placement process, admission of learners to senior schools, and monitor implementation. So we have very important information that parents are supposed to know. Parents and students to be allowed to select the schools of the choices as per their abilities and interests. Selection of pathways. So these are learners and parents will be taking part in the selection of these junior schools, senior schools, I mean. Then junior school pupils and their parents should be sensitized on the modalities of placement to help them make informed decisions as they select the senior school. That's why I have come up with this video so that we can have uh, we can be sensitized. Then enrollment per senior school should be capped at 3,000 learners. Enrollment per senior school should be capped at 3,000 learners. So that's also an important information that we should know. Now, we have these learners in our homes, we have them in our schools. Now, how are we going to assess them for their pathways? So, this is meant to evaluate interests, skills, values, aptitudes, and personality traits to help learners explore and plan for various pathways at senior. The following will be done. We have narratives. So, under narratives, learners will be guided to reflect on pathways, personal experiences, and future. Then we have questionnaire. Teachers will use structured tools and questionnaires to assess career interests. Then we have career inventories. Teachers will use career inventories to evaluate learner skills and strengths. And we have observation checklists. Teachers will use checklists assess learners' behavior, skills, and learning preferences. Then we have the career portfolios. Here, teachers will use these portfolios to assess the learner's appropriateness. So this area is based on the teachers. So we have to check on this one so that we can help the other stakeholders to place these learners in their correct senior schools. So after that, let's check on the placement of learners in grade 10. So we find that the placement of learners in grade 10, it will be based on learner's choice, merit, psychometric test, equity, and school capacity. So those are the 5 areas that will be focused on when placing these learners in grade 10. So when we talk about learner's choice, here we are talking about subject combinations and schools. The subject that the learners choose and the school that the learner selected. Then we have merit. Under merit, we are talking about the learner's academic performance in grade 9 assessment, case J exam that they will be writing at the end of this year. Then we have psychometric test. Here we are talking about learners' aptitude, interest, and talent identification done by NEC and by the school. Then we have equity. Here we are talking about regional balancing to ensure fair access for all learners. Then school capacity. Here we have the availability of the space and resources in respective schools applied for. So learners who miss places in schools of their choices will be placed in schools offering the pathway and subject combination of their choice. So no learner will be denied the opportunity to join senior school. So that's an important information. So when you find that your learner has not been placed in the area that or the school that he selected, so just make sure that the learner will be placed in the school that is offering the choices or the interests that the learner is based on. So after that, now let's check on the clusters of learning areas for placement. Clusters. Now here we'll go STEM by STEM. So let's I mean pathway by pathway. We have the first pathway is STEM. Under STEM we have track. That's pure science, applied science, and technical studies. So under pure science, these learners, the subject at senior school will be mathematics, chemistry, physics, and biology. At that is at pure science. Then cluster for JSS learning areas, integrated science, mathematics, and any other learning. So in JSS, that's where they are now in grade 9. Let's focus on integrated science, mathematics, and any other learning areas for this learner to be in the pure science. So when you talk about applied science, this learner will be learning agriculture, computer, and home science under senior school. So in GSS, that's in grade 9, grade 7 to 9, this learning is supposed to be focusing on agriculture, pre-technical studies, and any other learning area. Then we have technical studies, that is aviation, building, construction, electricity, power mechanic, metalwork, and woodwork. And in grade 7 to 9, this learning is supposed to be good at pre-technical studies, mathematics, and any other learning area. So teachers and parents, let's try to assist these learners as early as possible so that they know the areas that they are supposed to work smart in, so that when they come in choosing or selecting those pathways, it will be easy for them. So the second one is the social science pathway. And under the social science pathway, you have the track as language and literature, and we have humanities. So under language and literature, this learner in SS, that is senior school, will be learning literature in English, Fasihi Kiswahili, sign language, Arabic, French, German, Mandarin, Chinese, and indigenous language. So this learning is supposed to be good at GSS in these areas: English, Kiswahili, that's for Kenya Sign Language, and any other learning area. When we talk about humanities, that is religious education at senior school, that is history and citizenship, business studies, and geography. So at grade 7 and 9, this learner is supposed to be focusing on social studies, religious education, and pre-technical studies. Then we have the third pathway as art and sports science, that is arts and sports science. So in senior school, this learner will be under art. This learner will be focusing on music and dance, theater and film, and fine art. And in JSS, that's grade 7 to 9, this learner is supposed to be working smart in creative arts, social studies, and any other learning area. Then we have the sport science, that is in senior school, the learner will be focusing on sport and recreation. Then when it comes to JSS, that is in grade 7 to 9, this learner is supposed to be working smart in creative arts, integrated science, and in other learning areas. So let's focus and try to direct these learners in these areas so that we don't mislead them. So after that, let's check on now the grading of learners at grade 9. Remember, this is one of the areas that they'll be taking under merit. Under merit, after interest, we have the merit. So under merit, they'll be checking on the performance of these learners at the end of this year's exam, that's KCPE exam. So we find that these performance levels have been now split into two in each area. For example, when you talk about bill expectation, it has been split into two. It's no longer one. When you talk about approaching, it's two area. Meeting, two area, and exceeding, two area. So we find that under exceeding expectation, we have those learners who will be scoring 8 points. We have those learners who will be scoring 7 points. So that's under exceeding expectation. Meeting expectations, we have those learners who will be scoring 6 points, and we have those who will be scoring 5 points. Then we have those under approaching expectations. We have those learners who will be scoring 4 points and those will be scoring 3 points. Then we have below expectations. Those will be scoring 2 points and 1 point. So all the points are up to 8 points. 8 points. It's no longer 4 points, but it is 8 points. So those 8 points have been divided into two. So let's make sure that these learners they are at they are at level 8, so that when it comes to merit, it will be easy for them to just choose the correct school at the senior. So far that is the information that I had to pass across. So if there's anything that you need clarification on, just put it under the comment section and I will check on it so that we can have this information at our disposal. Remember, grade 9 are the first cohort of CBC, so it's good we have this information so that we can help these learners to choose their right senior schools and the schools where uh, their pathways are based on. So thank you for your time and may God bless you.